Hey, good day, good Tuesday, good Tuesday, good Tuesday. I hope this finds everybody safe and well. Let me make sure this is not sitting behind my neck in my earrings. I was not planning to do a video today, but I ended up in an astrology rabbit hole and I kind of wanted to share. Please excuse the glare on my glasses, but I wrote like a bunch of notes down and I can't read without my glasses. Sorry. Sorry. So, what is this video about? This is about essentially seeing and understanding my path, purpose, or career in various esoteric, spiritual tools, metaphysical, whatever you want to call them, but just they're tools. Um, and what I found was really cool is that I heard a really great description. I think in the book To the Path of Orisha, the author describes the process before your soul incarnates. So basically, imagining your soul in a room, you've got the Most High Creator, any guides, ancestors, blah, 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 that can potentially be supporting you. And you and the Creator are just like, yo, when I get to Earth, this is what I'm going to do. And the Most High might be like, but what if you did this? Okay, I'll do that. Can I also do this? Okay, grip that. And so you and the creator are working through a plan on what your soul is going to do when you arrive. It's there's you still have free will because you still have your human self, but your higher self, your soul, for those who follow African traditional religions, they may be called your ori, whatever that essence is that's still connected to soul, your spirit. That part of you had made a contract and said, "This is what I'm going to do. These are all the people that are going to help me along my journey. These are all the experiences that I'm going to have. These are my lifetime people. These are my seasonal people. These are my parents. I want my name to have this vibration." All of these things are thought out in simple perfection because that's what the universe is perfection. So I was thinking about how all of these things that I've learned so far as I've gone through my going through my awakening journey layered into each other. So I wanted to share them with you. So I'm going to start with numerology and kind of work my way through. I'm going to go to numerology, then gene keys, and then go to my birth chart. I'm doing that one last because that's the thing that takes the longest. I'm not an astrologer, so before y'all ask, I am not an astrologer. Hold on one second. Hold, pause. Apologies. I'm also a mommy. Okay. But like, not an astrologer. Love astrology. Studying astrology. Not an astrologer yet. So let's start with my life path. So I am a life path 11. Short version is spiritual teacher, wounded healer, all that good stuff. Late bloomer, all these various things that describe me. I vibrate with both the dual one energy, so divine masculine leader, um, sun energy, um, expressive, dynamic, charming. Um, but I also vibrate at a two energy, divine feminine, nurturing, intuitive, motherly, just a few short words. You can check out my numerology video because I do go through the life path numbers. If you want to hear more, there's plenty of stuff on Google, but I'll make sure to link the video somewhere around here by the end. So, spiritual teacher, and I will say that was one of the first things I found out upon awakening. One of the first things I learned about myself. And once I learned, especially things like late bloomer, we go through some stuff. And we go through some stuff because we use those lessons to help not only heal ourselves, but heal others. So I was like, okay, so that's my life path. And just to kind of layer that on there, I want to say my growth number, I think, is a 7, which makes me, the spiritual intellectual. So a teacher would be an ideal. A spiritual teacher, again, would be ideal. So just to kind of layer that other part in there, my birth number is 1, which is a number of a leader. So that's my numerology little tidbit. So then we have gene keys. So here's where I'm gonna share my screen, maybe. Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen. And okay, so right now what you see is a part of my gene keys profile. I'm gonna just scroll here. And let's see if I can zoom in a smidgen. Smidgen. There we go. All right, so my purpose. So I'm not going to read that whole thing. I'm just going to pull some of the highlights on there. I'll try not to be fast in case you want to read it, but it says basically, my life work, I'm a 19.6, and my line is a 6, which is the teacher line. If for those of you that follow Gene Keys, I found a really good video about Gene Keys that I can link on where I started looking at this. But I'm going to help people through the changes that are basically happening to society and help them see it from a higher viewpoint. One moment. Okay, sorry about that. All right. So help people through the changes happening throughout society, humanity. We're going through evolution, and part of my life work is to help with that. Essentially, as this says, I'm a vessel for humanity's direction. I'm supposed to deliver the truth 100% as I see it, and I'm not here to maintain the status quo, and I'm essentially supposed to help pull those who are open to it towards the future. No big deal. So I was just like, okay, but this is echoed quite regularly. So I'm going to start here. So this is my birth chart. So this is my natal birth chart. And so your birth chart, places that you want to look are your 10th house in your midheaven, also note as the MC on here. So we have the numbers in here. So this is the 10th house, and this is my MC. And for those of you wondering why my MC is not in my 10th house, I like to use whole signs. So that is why it looks the way that it does. In the whole signs, my MC is not in my 10th house. My MC is in my 9th house. And that's important because that adds an extra layer onto where I'm going to be most known, my career, and things like that. So, quick breakdown, my 10th house is ruled by Aries. So you can think about Aries energy, leader, driving force, et cetera, et cetera. Mars is in the ruler of Aries, and it is in my 8th house, the house of the occult, mysticism, spirituality, power, transformation. If you remember what I said just a moment ago, transformation, death and rebirth, all of those energies, and probably in a radical way because my 8th house is ruled by Aquarius. Interesting energy. That is also where my sun is, so it is the place where I shine. The Lord does not want us to stumble. That's all I'm trying to say. My midheaven is in the 9th house, which is, think about teachers, gurus, higher learning, travel, expansion, and again, spirituality. My 9th house is ruled by Pisces, the sign of I believe, the spiritual, the psychic sign. Pisces is ruled by both Jupiter in traditional and Neptune in modern. So Jupiter is in my 2nd house, which rules what how I make money. So we have Jupiter in my second house, which is ruled by Leo. We've already discussed the fact that my sun, which is Leo's ruler, is in the eighth house. Um, and another thing is that Leos are outward, and so this is why I believe I was nudged to start the YouTube channel, because I have always felt more behind the scenes, and as of late, I've been feeling like I need to be more upfront, which will be explained in the next chart. And then just Pisces, other ruler, Neptune. Neptune is in my sixth house, which is your day of day-to-day service, service to others, day job. And it's ruled by Sagittarius, which is all of my ninth house energy. Okay, that's not enough. Okay, that's cool. This is my progress chart. So the short version of progress chart is your birth chart is where you start your life. However, as you grow, you should be evolving, and thus this is my evolution. So if you notice my evolution, I am now a Leo rising, just so that y'all can see it right here. I am now a Leo rising. And which is interesting because I have been told by people like I command a room and I have presence and I'm a leader and all these words that I never used to use to describe myself. And then when I looked at around the time I moved into Leo rising, I was like, oh, okay, all right, this makes sense. So here, again, my midheaven is not quite in my 10th house, but it is right there on the cusp. So I have my 10th house ruler, which is Taurus, the I build, which can also be I create, I build something strong, which would mean it would last. So that's a good sign for my 10th house. I also have Chiron in here, which is my wounded healer, and it is conjunct my midheaven, and which basically means they're like really right there, close to each other. So I had a dream that I was doing Reiki recently, and I, did a reading, and I asked Spirit, like, is this something that's going to come down the line where I'm a healer? And I got an answer that this is yes, and this shows that this is something that I'm progressing towards. But again, Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus is over here in my seventh house. So the seventh house is the house of one-to-one relationships, partnerships, marriage, significant relationships. So essentially, my point of acclaim is also going to be tied to somebody else. Now, I've watched maybe 3 videos on soulmates or mentioning of a soulmate. Now, one thing is it's blocked. I can't see the soulmate. And just, additional color to that is that I have dreamt of somebody, but I can't see his face. I see him, but his face is not clear to me. Everything else is really clear, but he himself is not clear to me. And it's funny because I've watched Stargirl twice, and both times she could not pull anything from the pile that I picked. And I know my intuition was right. I picked the right pile, but when she's doing it, she's like, I literally cannot tell you anything. It's blocked. It's completely blocked. You're not supposed to know. You can't know yet. It's part of your path. So I just was like, okay. But what she said both times, and someone else said that this person was connected to some sort of status. So which could be why my, again, 10th house would be related to this. It might be related to this person. I don't know. But this is what it's telling me. It's a possibility. The energy is ripe for it, essentially. And Venus is not just love. Venus is also abundance and money, nice things, beauty, art, all of these things. And as a reminder, I did write a poem, which is technically art. And there's a section in it called love. So then I have my midheaven, which is technically in my 9th house of Aries. So that Aries energy, again, is showing itself. It's still present in my progress chart. It's just in a different spot. So Mars is still where? It's still in my 8th house. And because Jupiter still impacts your career, because it is expansion, abundance, luck, I looked at Jupiter. And so Jupiter is conjunct my ascendant. So again, this need for me to expand and put myself out there, the Leo energy is really, really showing up as being important. Jupiter is in my 12th house, which is the house where I want to be hidden. It's like I want to do things that are typically hidden, but I want to be upfront about it. That's the best way I feel like I can describe the energy. Like I like doing tarot cards. I like reading oracle cards. I love astrology. Numerology is my jam. I think that's why I decided that was the first thing I would offer is basic numerology profiles. So those things, eighth house and 12th house alike, those things aren't readily talked about. There were things that were, for me, buried deep within and only recently started to come up to the surface. If you think about the way that looks, it's like that expansion that knowledge is coming up to the surface. So yeah. Also looking at this, my 12th house progressed is ruled by Cancer, which is ruled by the moon, and the moon is in my 3rd house, the house of creativity and the house of communication and thought. So if I wanted to write, I published a book and 2 journals that would be aligned to my path and my purpose. I also have, this is the chart of my unconscious, not my subconscious, but my unconscious. So this is the energy before I was born. It's almost like maybe my past life energies in a way, like something, what I brought with me. So things that I brought with me, my midheaven is still within the 10th house. My midheaven is officially in the 10th house. And it's ruled by Virgo, which is the I analyze. And I'm super duper, I can overanalyze. I'm a bit of an overthinker, even though Virgo is earth energy, like I'm an Aquarius and I really do think a lot. So I could see that. And it's there with with Saturn too, which makes a lot of sense because it would seem that I probably would take longer in my life to get to understanding what my purpose is. So Virgo is ruled by Mercury, the planet of thought and communication and technology. So here we have me sitting here trying to communicate on YouTube, and I have my blogs on Patreon, poems that I've been writing. You see the pattern happening here. Jupiter is still in Leo, but it's also in its house that it's home in, which is the 9th house. So again, that teacher, knowledge, higher learning theme is still resonating here. Mercury is in my 1st house, which is your house of self, me, all about me, means all about communicating what I'm learning, Sagittarius, and freedom of communication, meaning that I need to be authentic and say what I truly want to say, being expansive so that higher learning guru energy is still there, even on an unconscious level. So, I mean, everything is pointing to me doing something, 1, in spirituality, 2, where I teach and or heal. And it's tied into me being truly authentic and honest about what I think, what I believe, who I am, and stepping up front my double 1 energy versus falling in the background, my 2 energy. So I hope this kind of, my intention really when I was thinking about this was to show that for anyone feeling like they can't, it's all coincidence, I have 3 different charts in 3 different ways, all telling almost the exact same story. And then 3 different mechanisms that also gave me the same story. That can't all be coincidence. I just don't feel like the creator operates that way. You can believe what you want, free will. It may not be your path to believe, but my personal thought is that the idea that God doesn't want us to know. There's a reason, we forget, and there's things we're not supposed to know right now, and we have to learn and come to it in our own time. And we have free will to decide what we're going to do with that information once we know what that information is. But at the end of the day, what really stands out to me is that you don't have to be somebody in a monastery. You don't have to be someone standing in front of a pulpit. I just, as of October, I'm just a single mom of a bat baby and a robin baby and an archangel that watches above us. My best friends are three guys. I got a day job that, pays me well until I can make this pay me well enough to not have a day job, at least not a day job where I'm using my talent for somebody else. Um, I'm trying to lose weight. I love pastries. I'm just regular, but I'm not just regular. I'm not just regular. If I drop a card right now to see who I really am, I'll drop the high priestess. I'll drop the hierophant. I'll, and it's like, spirit is like, own who you are. Own who you are. And that's been hard. You know, I'll show you this and I promise I want to wrap up. I was listening to a video about Chiron. This one right here that looks like the letter K, that's Chiron. And that's the wounded healer. And it shows where your wound is and what you have to heal and essentially how you will become a healer or who you will become a healer to. So it's in my 11th house, which is a house of community, groups, friends. So Chiron, and apparently I thought this was so telling that the degrees tell you around the time of your life that the wound occurred. So mine is at 5 degrees. And even in my progress chart, is at 6 degrees. I haven't looked at it in my unconscious. Is it in here? Did I even add it? Yep, 7 degrees, elementary school. And I think about being bullied and yeah, my friends weren't like what people would call normal. Like all my friends were weird. The people that I was closest to, generally speaking, they were weird. My friends that were what people would consider normal, I did not feel at the same. We were cool, but I didn't feel the same as them. And elementary school is where I learned to be different. I learned that I was different. Especially at my age, it was around the 80s. So um, colorism was a thing. And though I am not on the far end of the dark skin spectrum, I'm still dark skinned. I will not pass the paper bag test. And my hair is kinky and I have a gap. My parents didn't have us in all the name brand clothes. My mom made a lot of our clothes. Um, so a lot of stuff, elementary school, a lot of trauma from elementary school that though it makes it emotional, I'm glad I've healed it because I think about that little girl and her love of astrology and astronomy and numerology and standing in the front yard saying she was a witch and, you know, she didn't want to watch Michael Jackson change into a werewolf, but she did love horror movies. Michael Jackson that's across the line. We're just not going to turn him into a werewolf. But I think about her when I look at that and how long we had to go through so much and how long I probably asked, why me? But I think about certain things like the passing of my son, and I wouldn't be able to offer comfort if I didn't know what that felt like. I think about my son, my rainbow baby who's autistic, and I wouldn't be able to offer comfort if I didn't know what that felt like. I think about women who have been raped and I wouldn't be able to offer comfort if I didn't know what that felt like. I can feel the need to go drop stuff off directly in the hands of the homeless versus going to shelters because I know what it's like to not have a place to sleep. So that Chiron to me is also my point of power because it humbles you, and if you allow it to, it'll make you strong. It'll make you strong because it'll show you where you can give back. So I give gratitude for every lesson because it has blessed me profound. It blessed me profoundly. Sorry, sorry. You are not your wounds. You're not your wounds. And with that being said, my mother's calling me, so that means I gotta go. I hope you liked it. Be sure you like, subscribe, comment, all those that jazz people put at the end of their YouTube videos. Feel free to share. This is not my Patreon video. This is just a public video. So by all means, share. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.